Here at the APBA Football Club, we've collected a lot of football games, really only a tiny fraction of the football games out there. It never ceases to amaze how many folks have looked at the game of American pro football and said, I'm going to replicate this somehow on the tabletop. And this is just a few of the dozens of variants out there, not even necessarily stats-based sports sims, although there's a lot of language that talks about science and data. It's always about realistic simulation. This action game in which players really tackle, run, pass, kick, fumble, and block, just like the pros, for instance. There's a great book that came out a few years ago called Retro Football Games, copyright 2014. We did a little Q&A with the author. We'll repost that somewhere, or maybe do a podcast just reading the story. This came out, like I say, in 2014. I don't know if it's still available, but it really talks about all these great games. Well, in fact, you can see, hello me, meet the real me, Mr. Lombardi, back in almost center, not front and center there. That's a stupid joke. It's not a joke at all. In any case, lots of great games. And happens to be Tom Parker's pigskin football right there. See? So if you don't have enough games or APBA cards or strat cards or data-driven football team cards, well, find yourself a copy of this somewhere, or I'll maybe put the author's contact information in there based on what's in the book. I don't know if the retrofootballgames.com website is still up, but this is a great inspiration, or maybe a collecting checklist, if you will. They, of course, even mention it takes a while just to get a sense of how many games there are out there. It took him a long time in the book. In fact, down to page 134 of 200 pages to get to APBA football. I'll get this nice little card in there. But it took him more than halfway through the book to get to APBA. And here he's got the World Championship set. And just a quick note, if you do read the book, he noted that the APBA game, the inaugural game, was 1965, which is in fact not the case. Of course, it came out in 1958 as a 1959 edition with a 1957 season set. And he actually shows you the World Championship set here, which actually came out in the early 70s. How do we know this? Well, we have a brochure. We have 2 or 3 original copies of the World Champion set, just to diverge here a bit. The World Championship set featured the 53, 59, 60, 63, and 65 championship pairings. And the company is, in fact, also reissuing and issuing new championship sets. So I'll put a link to those in the video description here. But in fact, the World Championship set came out in the early 70s, in 1972, I believe, maybe 71. We've got a brochure to that effect. Not as much proof is the box that one of our originals came in with a postmark of February 15th, 1973, and it is indeed the old World Championship set as depicted in the book. The main distinguishing factor for the World Championship set is the fact that it matches the typography of the 1970 to 1984 season sets. It indeed features the J3 for the first time, and that happened with the 1972 original issue season. J ratings appear for the first time in the APBA football game. You'll see where are we? You'll see the interception allocation codes for defenders, those W codes, but you will not see allocation codes for receptions for your end backs, your wide receivers, or your tight ends. That didn't, the receivers didn't start getting their allocation codes until the first original 1973 APBA football season. So, all right, always a little bit of these 65 Browns. So if you do buy the book, just note that APBA Football came out in 1958, but this is a great book. I mean, there's just games and games and games and games and games. And we have a very small representation here. I mean, people have tried every kind of mechanism. I mean, this clutch football game you'll see out there on occasion, and it's easy to find these too. You don't have to pay a lot. Just set up an eBay alert for vintage football game, vintage football, I don't know, something else, another search, and you will find a lot of great stuff, just people trying to move inventory. A lot of these things are so pristine. I mean, we've got a clutch football that's still in shrink wrap. It's kind of we'll do some other unboxings of all these, but we're here for one particular game today. There's this other one, Bucephalus Games put out called, it's so heavy. This thing is ridiculous. Playbook Football, still in shrink wrap. Nobody knew what to do with it. These limited issues. It's so cool. We've talked about end zone or end rush zone rather with the in our video on football toys because it's got the interchangeable end zones. And then of course you've got the Vince Lombardi game, which originally had been issued as the Fran Tarkenton game. And one of those just sold for about 200 and change, And it's cool because being here in New Jersey, this game was issued by Research Games Incorporated, Lakewood, New Jersey. You'll see it on the box there. And it purports to be the most realistic football game ever developed. And I think it actually has player cards or some sort of statistical mechanism in the game. And then you've got these big box all pro football. And this one I think is more of a kids type game. And I think they also did a Canadian football version of that. Going back to the 20s and 30s, I mean, Tom Hamilton's pigskin football. It's almost like, I just got to show you this one really quickly. It's like a Parcheesi pieces or something. These little men and a really, beautiful set actually with these highly detailed cards. I mean, this goes back to, let's just check this out. As I showed you, it's in the book. Pieces all over the place. The copyright on this is it in here? The price was 40 cents. Well, the additional chart pads. That's the old scoring pads. I can't see copyright 1946. It's right on the cover there. So really cool stuff. Some really cool iterations and renderings of the game of American Pro Football. And you've got, this doesn't even count the gateway simulation games, right? Your pay dirt, of course, APBA, being one of the first, well, actually the first really statistics-based game with individual cards, and Stratomatic 10 years later. But you've even had, you get these weird one-offs like a VCR game actually has the VCR tape in it, and you would apparently just kind of work through it, just like those talking football games, the games with the discs. There's so many ways you can render the game of football. And it's just cool to look at these things and think, wow, I wonder if there's a little tip or a trick, a mechanism in there. This thing is just a monster. The original photoelectric football. I haven't tested this. I think it actually plugs in. But, if nothing else, you get these cool, if you want to use a nice, cool, different scoreboard. I use my 70s Catico photoelectric football scoreboard with APBA for years when I was replaying the 79 season. This has let's see. I thought you plugged in the big board here somehow. This thing is crazy. It's like a shaking the oven. Yeah, there's a whole cord in here. So I've never, little musty. All right, what's this note? Insert offensive play and defensive underneath the transparent holder far enough so that the lower edges of both cards line up with the lower edge. And we did this in our Gateway Games video, we showed you how Playbook Football evolved. They got rid of the electricity, which probably isn't bad, in the era of the easy bake oven. So it's not going to go back in. I say I haven't plugged this in, but what's cool, the mechanism is kind of cool in that you put the offensive charts, you have an offensive play, and then you would superimpose a defense on it, and as you would see the ball travel, then you would have defenders, and if the line traveled through a defender, the play is stopped, the ball is intercepted, and a pass, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just a really cool, so many mechanisms, and it gives you that kind of real time. It's almost like it is photoelectric football. It gives you that kind of electronic, tabletop feel, without having to program your men and all that good stuff. Stars on Stripes football is another one that goes back, kind of like the pigskin football. This one goes back as well. This has got the nice, the box is still in great shape too. They don't build them like they used to. Again, if you want to use this field for your APBA or your Strato, and it's got the actual, nicely created holes there if you want to just move a peg, something like that. Have no clue how this thing plays. Don't know if it's actually complete. This one might not be. Let's see. Compliments of the American Red Cross, not to be sold. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's got all the instructions in the cover here, or rather some instructions. So we'll try to figure that one out. But in any case, the game that really I wanted to talk about today is one that we just acquired, and it is wild looking. It came out of the blue, and it just looks brilliant. And it's called Linebacker Football in the shrink wrap. I can't read the original price on it. It's copyright 1990, Linebacker Inc. All rights reserved. 2 or 4 players, game setup, on defense, on offense, and then gives you all the particulars there. I always wanted to be, I got to confess, I always wanted to be a linebacker. And I apologize for any spit takes that just occurred there if you lost your drink at that notion, that silly notion. But maybe it's just the idea of being the quarterback of the defense. And, maybe it's that kind of being an editor, stopping the errors as they come through, at least, in terms of being a copy editor. But in any case, linebacker football. And what got me thinking, wouldn't it be cool if you created a game kind of like, almost like, I don't know, Rock Band, where everyone gets to play. Like, say you had boxes for each position: linebacker, defensive back, defensive line, O-line. You buy the box and you can kind of create fictional characters. And then you've got multiplayer football where, you've got, say, on your defense, you've got, I don't know, you could have up to 10 friends and you on defense, and then offense as well. And you could have, these boxes of characters you could create. I think, Dave Gardner's been doing these hockey videos where you've got this game that lets you create leagues, fictitious league, and build players based on a chart of characteristics. You roll for the characteristics, you build your players, and you can create a career out of them. But wouldn't that be cool if you could, buy, and then, say if you want to be a quarterback, did you want to be a 50s quarterback, a single wing quarterback, a run and shoot quarterback? You can have so many modules. Someone could make a mint off that, probably, if you could make it work. Certainly not something I dig into, but interesting thought. Certainly electronically could be interesting, an expansion, an expandable game based on selling these modules position by position and having multiplayer games where someone can pick a position and create their own character. In any case, that's got nothing to do with linebacker football, I don't surmise, but it's in shrink wrap, so let's just take a look at it. Let's see, is this going to be, and this came across just completely with one of those eBay alerts. And all right, let's see. Oh, don't make shrink wrap like they used to either. All right. First time here. And you just have to wonder who designed it. Maybe we'll track down the designer or designers and see who designed this baby. But unveiling for the first time linebacker football. And of course, if any of you have heard of this, absolutely say something in the comments, which you would anyway. I don't need to tell people how comments work, right? But I would be curious if anyone knows anything about this game for sure. So right off the bat, it's interesting. Some put the field on the bottom, some put it on the top. I guess it depends on the weight. I don't know. So looking at, well, and I'm in the wrong orientation here, but in any case, that's pretty cool. So it looks like you are doing what? Wow. So you've got all your position players, D-line, strong side corner, weak side corner, post hook zone, curl slant zone. I don't have to read them all for you. You can see pretty wild. So it'll be fun. We'll do a little playthrough on this at some point, playing through all the retro football games. That's a long overdue project. Let's see what else is out. Well, now this is even more intriguing. So you get two of these. So maybe each person is plotting out, maybe what I was saying is, could that possibly have had any relevance to the actual game inside? Well, that's crazy. Getting that new game dust. Linebacker football looks like almost dot matrix print out there is great. A filled out sample sheet. Very nice. Smart. I like that. That is a very good idea. These are, looks like stickers manufactured exclusively by Linebacker Inc. by Raymond Enterprises, 2395 West 2nd Avenue, Denver, Colorado, Unit 10. Wonder what that is now. Do not remove ruler from the backing. Should other game pieces lose their attack level and not stick well, rinse in warm water and let dry. So are you then sticking these to the game board? So you're maybe sticking these things. Wow. That's a definite new one on me. That's crazy. This is feels like a substantial rule book. 1990 copyright, Linebacker Inc., Station 2, Box 595, Denver, Colorado. Condensed linebacker football rules. See complete rules for greater detail. Running plays, passing plays, the back cover. And on the front, which you've already been reading while I've been yakking, is a pregame setup, kickoff and kickoff return. Very smart. Go in order. Silver, gold. Wow. So skill levels based on the stickers, maybe. Fantastic. It's substantive without being over much. Doesn't seem like. Let's see if we can get through here a little bit. Looking at both the covers here, it's got the This is also interesting and something that. Looking at the dice and the counters here, which could also be used in APBA. Nice big dice, in fact, although no red ones, but you've got some multi-side here. Can't tell if that's a 2D10. Well, I can say if you see the number on it. Oh, smarty. Yeah, those look like D10s, I guess. I've never used them, and I have that new game 5D10 from Inside Sport. This is you get your little counters there. You get some yellow and some silver. Always never hurts to have extra counters. But here, I've always wondered, and I don't know if you've ever played it this way, but if you ever played APBA with a 45-second, I was just looking, and you can get sand timers in multiple denominations or time values, 30 seconds, a minute. I think it would be fun to do almost like a speed chess thing where with APBA, you have this amount of time to call your personnel and your play. All right. So now you roll for a result. Now you're looking, we're going to go 3 wides, 2 tights. And I'm going to, let's see what's my play, So generally speaking, I mean, you can do it in pretty quick time there. And the defense, maybe you put the defense on the timer as well, In any case, that's just something. Somehow it seems like they've got a clock mechanism in here. The good old pad. That's as far as sample pads go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's about par. I'm sure it came off a massive pad of score sheets, and you just Xerox those, good letter size. I like that. I mean, that's this seems let's see, 30 plays, third quarter, fourth quarter. So it looks like they might be doing an APBA-esque 30 plays a quarter, which makes perfect sense. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, as you can see there. So 30 seconds of play. And if they do a half play, if they allow you half play, 15 seconds half play. And that appears to be it. So looking forward to this one. Again, this came out of the blue eBay. I can't remember what search I had set up on it. It's actually quite nicely, though. Stickers. Quite intriguing. I wonder if that might have had something to do with the game's uptake or perhaps lack thereof. I don't see a lot of copies of good old linebacker football out there, but can't wait to dig into it. So what are your cool collectibles? What football games, are you collecting recently? Let us know about it, because we may all want to try to hunt one down. And don't forget, if you can, look for this book, Retro Football Games. Like I said, I don't know if it's still in print, but the retail price was $25. And I mean, it's just chock full of great stuff. And the Namath game there. There's another game we've got downstairs that kind of got that same scheme to it. Let's see. There's the that's Jerry Kramer instant replay. I mean, on and on and on. It never ends. And there are more games going on, as you've seen with all the folks we've interviewed. More games on the horizon, more football than you can shake a stick at. So happy gaming, happy collecting.